Well, here we go, guys. One of the most interesting things about professional bass fishing and the tournaments to me is the boats. Those big 21-foot fiberglass, 250 horsepower engines on the back. They're going 75 miles an hour, fully jammed, fully loaded of the latest technology, the best electronics out there. Just absolute insane fishing machines. But what if you fish those big tournaments in a smaller aluminum boat? Would that give you an advantage? Well, our guest tonight actually believes that that gives him a unique advantage, and he runs nothing but aluminum boats. We're talking tonight with Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour angler Keith Poche, and it's all about aluminum, and he's fresh off a fantastic win on Lake Seminole with that aluminum boat. All that and more tonight, right here on Bass 365 Live. That's right. All my time that I've spent working with these guys out on tour, I've learned a lot, and I get to see some pretty darn cool things. But it's got to be the boats that gets me the most. It always has been. I mean, there's a reason why I became a boat captain in the first place. Those big rigs, those bass boats, just tricked right out to the tee. They're absolutely incredible. But there are a handful of guys that have chosen to go a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter, and they believe it gives them a unique advantage out there. There's not a lot of them, and maybe that's for a good. But tonight, Keith Shea, he runs an aluminum boat, an aluminum Triton. And in fact, he actually just fished an FLW Toyota Series and won it all on the FLW on Lake Seminole, running actually an even smaller boat than this tournament boat. I'm not even positive the size, but I know it only had a 90 horsepower motor on that. Everybody else out there is running 21-foot, 250 horsepower boats, flying at 70 something miles an hour, but he was running a smaller boat with a 90 horsepower engine, and he came out with a big W. Now we're having a little bit of technical issues here trying to get Keith on board, which is of course what happens when you go live. So we're going to talk a little bit more, just you and I, before we get Keith on here. Ricky's here as well, but he's actually talking to Keith on the other line right now, trying to talk him through on how to get here and get up with that. So while we're doing that, guys, I just wanted to stop and talk a little bit about, obviously, I'm here in Florida, and I fish a lot of small lakes. I have a lot of these smaller lakes around me. Great fishing, but it's a little difficult to get these big boats in there. I have a smaller 17-foot aluminum that I use for a lot of these small lakes. It's just easier to launch. It's easier on myself, especially when I'm by myself, to be able to use that. But I also have a 20-foot bass boat as well, a big fiberglass boat. And I don't often use it as much as I do the aluminum boat, just because the sheer how much easier it is on me individually and how much more I can cover with that. So there's some advantages, I think, to be said for running a smaller aluminum boat. But there's got to be some major disadvantages. Otherwise, why wouldn't everybody be doing that? You're going to be slower. There's no doubt about it. You might not be able to take on the big water as easily, but the advantages are it's definitely going to get you into places that maybe you couldn't get with those big boats. So it's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting topic. And I got a whole bunch of questions, and I'm really excited once Keith gets on here to actually be able to pick his brain. I was able to watch him throughout the season last year on the Bass Pro Tour running that aluminum boat. And I think he's the only guy, I believe, on the Bass Pro Tour that was running an aluminum boat. And he actually fished a couple of these big tournaments on big water in that aluminum boat and did fairly well with that too. So there might be a whole bunch of things to it, that's for sure. It looks like I'm seeing in the green room some action. So they're coming. They're on their way. But before they actually get on here, I'm going to bring up, we got some comments already. So let's go ahead and see if I can answer some of your questions before you guys actually get here. We got Sasquatch Man. Welcome, buddy. Did you get your shirt? Let me know if you got your shirt. I know you ordered that special Sasquatch size, and I had to work a little hard to get that for you. So I hope you did get that. It looks like it's been delivered out there. So one of the first Bass 365 shirts ordered from our store there. So we really appreciate that, buddy. But let us know that you got that shirt, and hopefully it fits and it's working out for you out there. Salisbury Fishing, why isn't it on yet? We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but hey, whatever. We're here now. So if you guys had any questions while we're waiting for you to get them in, come on in. But I'll tell you a little bit. Drop your questions. I'll tell you a little bit about what I saw from Keith out there this year, running that aluminum boat. You know, one of the most notable things that I can remember was definitely down in Texas on Lake Fork. It was a great tournament, and if you have never fished Lake Fork, you guys got to understand, Lake Fork is probably one of the most dangerous lakes in the country to run, especially at speed in these big, heavy fiberglass boats. There's stumps and laydowns and there's just junk everywhere. And, you know, there's somewhat marked channels, but if you're running outside of those channels, it can be treacherous. It can be dangerous out there. You know, I was amazed watching these guys in the big boats flying around, how much they did and how little damage actually those boats actually took in that terrible water. But here it is, you know, the two days of qualifying, getting into the knockout round, and then moving all the way to the championship round. And Keith Poche made it all the way through to the top 10, to the final 10 in the championship round. So maybe there's something to be said for that aluminum boat in that. Vice versa, I also saw him up in Sandusky, Ohio, running that same aluminum boat on some of the biggest water there is, Lake Erie. There we go. We got Ricky back in here with us. I see we got Keith in the green room. It looks like we're ready to rock.
Finally, man, it was a challenge, but we got it straight. Yeah, we got it straight.
That's the joys of you know, life. Absolutely. I don't know about you, but we're dealing with a whole bunch of weather down here, and I think Keith's up there in Alabama, so he might be dealing with the same kind of issues right now too.
Right.
Kind of the thing. But I was filling everybody in, Ricky, what we were doing tonight, and what we're talking about tonight, and how much we've seen Keith running these aluminum boats. And like I said, he's fresh off of a big victory, a big W on Lake Seminole, running a much smaller boat than his traditional tournament boat, only a 90 horsepower. I'm real excited. I see he's in the green room. We got a whole bunch of questions out here already. People starting to ask questions. They want to know all about it, and I don't think anybody can answer these questions but Keith himself.
We still got a sweet little video clip you got to play first, and I'm sure we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring Keith in here, and then we're going to talk about it. But if you guys aren't familiar with Keith himself, like, this is one of the battlers, one of the biggest battlers out there in professional fishing. He does what has to be done to get it done at any time, and he's more than willing to put his body, his boat, and his equipment through a whole bunch that a lot of us might not be willing to. This is before we bring Keith in here, guys. We got a little clip. This is one of the best. Where was this? This was a BPT event. Do you remember where it was?
We'll have to ask him where it was at. I don't remember specifically, but when I talked to him today, I just happened to find this clip on my phone, and I thought it was pretty good for the show tonight. So
well, go ahead and run it. Just go to prove when you want to get it done, you do what you got to do when you're battling at the level that he battles at. Here's Keith Poche showing us what it takes to get it done.
God, dog. Oh, it's cold. Broke my rod. He's hung. I went to bed, get the power poles around. Yeah, I had to get him. Oh!
Gonna be a fish landing violation.
I don't care.
Penalty.
In the mouth. In the mouth. In the mouth. Oh. Oh, yes. I had to. There wasn't no choice. I had to. Okay.
Woo! In the mouth. Guys,
in the mouth.
That's grit. That's determination. I'm gonna guess, if I have to guess, that was Lake Fork. That kind of looked like Lake Fork to me. But hey, let's bring him in. No one's gonna tell us better than Keith. So here he is, guys. Major League Fishing Pro, Keith Poche.
That's how you guys doing.
What's up, Keith?
What's up,
buddy?
What's up? Sorry it took so long. They had to do my hair and makeup, and it takes a while to get going. I mean, it is what it is, man. I got to look good for you guys.
We know exactly how that is, brother. You don't look this pretty. It's just this takes a lot of work.
It doesn't happen naturally.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah, that clip was actually Lake Fork earlier this year. Before all the crazy stuff happened, and we were fishing a lot and things were rolling, and had a really good event on Lake Fork. First time I've ever been on Lake Fork, actually, and caught a 9-pounder. I think it was like 9 pounds, 11 ounces. The biggest fish I ever weighed in an event. Absolutely a fun place to fish. I encourage anybody that's looking to catch some big bass to go to Lake Fork. Absolutely fun place.
Well, the elites just had a little show down there too last week. Pretty impressive. One of my good friends at Leagu finished 6th, and we're going to have him on later this week to talk about how he caught him in a pretty unique way. But Keith, we've had the conversation about the aluminum boat more than one time. I think for me, the biggest thing is it makes the game affordable for anybody, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, a lot of people spend a lot of money on fiberglass boats, and that's their deal. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody. You get what you want to drive, but for me, and I think for a lot of good old folks, and you know, from where I grew up and where I'm from, I didn't have an opportunity to have a big, nice boat until I made it on tour, and I had a sponsor deal. So my roots are fishing out of aluminum boat. I've always had the small little boat with the 25 horse. I mean, it was just I just never had the big show boat growing up and fishing tournaments.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know myself, there's advantages to having those, not just what you're used to or whatever. Like, yeah, you're going to be able to get into places that you might not want to put the big boat into, but there are disadvantages too. At least that way I understand it. And maybe you clear up the air for us on that. Aluminum boats, smaller engine, you're just not going to get the speed out of it that those big boats are, unless I'm wrong on that.
No, you're 100% correct. You know, you're limited on distance as far as the amount of places you can go, and time wise. I mean, you know, a lot of these big boats, they go, 75 miles an hour up, upper 70s, and you're able to really maximize your time, running a long ways to some fish and get a longer day. But with a small aluminum boat, you sacrifice speed, you sacrifice the fuel capacity, and it doesn't handle rough water as well as a big fiberglass. So there's a few things you do sacrifice. You're a little limited on the accessibility on distance, but you gain a little bit on accessibility on going somewhere shallow or going somewhere where a big fiberglass can't go. And that's what I lean on. A lot of times I will sacrifice that little extra time of running just to get into a place that I know that a big fiberglass hasn't been into, where I know that I can go be by myself and I don't have to worry about another angler getting on my fish. And, it doesn't always work out, but a lot of times it does.
I can completely understand that. And then you talk not even just tournament days, but those practice days leading up to it. You're getting in, you might be able to get into water that really hasn't been beat up yet, or beat up as much, at least. But I got to imagine there's also sacrifices you got to make as far as storage in there. I know how much gear you guys bring on tour when every time you're out there, whatever. Has that been an issue for you ever with any of these boats?
Not really. I mean, I keep it pretty simple, especially if I'm fishing out of a boat like this. I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm fishing shallow. So the bait selection is very narrow. I'm flipping, Berkeley pit balls or, a Berkeley square bull. I mean, there's so many, or Jay Walker throwing a top water. And there's so many just shallow water things that I'm doing that I don't have to bring all the big deep diving crankbaits and all. I mean, there's so many things that guys keep in their box that I don't have to bring because I know what I'm doing. When I go practice, I'm focusing on one particular technique, and that's shallow, and I can narrow it down pretty good and bring just a couple boxes and be good for the whole event. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Now, I will say that I got a little habit from fishing the cups and selects over the years that I've learned to bring a one or two baits of each kind just in case. You know, always have a little bit of something, you know, just in case you need it. Because it's better to have it to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Just to be safe.
Absolutely. I think your Louisiana cohort there, Cliff Crochet, once told me you always want to have that what if bait or that one cast bait tied on at all times, because you get to that one spot where it's, I wish I had that bait for just that one cast. You know, whatever. If you didn't have it, you never know what's going to be there or whatnot. So I can understand that. But yeah, you're minimizing your boat, so minimize what you need to bring. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. So what about the other disadvantage that I've always thought when I run an aluminum boat or whatever is the noise factor. They're louder. They're definitely louder. The water slapping on the hull, you're dropping things or you're just stomping around, and you're targeting shallow water, like you said. So has that come into play, or do you think about that, or maybe I'm just overthinking things?
Yeah, you know, I don't think so. I mean, I think that may be a little overthought. I mean, as far as you know, these boats, they have a lot of foam in them. These newer boats, they pack them full of foam. They're pretty quiet. You know, they may ding a little hard if you knock a weight off of them, or if you close the box a little too hard, but that's very rare. I mean, that's not going to happen too often, but when you're slipping around, you got to understand it doesn't dispense as much water as well, and there's a smaller hull typically, so it's not dispensing a lot of water, and it's not making a lot of commotion and spooking those fish in that shallow water as well. So you kind of gain on one and lose on the other. So overall, I think it's a good choice for me and a lot of guys. I mean, you got Ott Defoe. He's fished, you know, tournaments and won some events on it. John Cox has done real well over the years.
Absolutely.
I mean, that guy is a fish catching machine, and he runs aluminum boats. So there's been a few guys over the years that's been able to adapt and make it happen and fish the major tours and be successful. So I'm just hoping that I can continue and make a name for myself as well.
Well, you definitely are. I mean, we're looking at, you know, sharing it around, and people are already asking a lot more questions. And they're saying, I'm hearing things like, hey, you're doing a great job out there. It's awesome what you're doing. For us small boat guys, you know, that maybe would love to do that, but there's definitely going to be that stipulation. And most people are going to think, well, I need an $80,000 boat, and I can't afford an $80,000 boat, so I'm just not going to do it. But you're proving it. You're out there proving it that you don't need that. It might help in times, but you don't need it. And you just did it big time on Lake Seminole, which is not an easy lake to fish generally.
Hey, Mike, before we get into that part of it, I wanted Keith. Whoa, how many times does that happen?
Yeah, that happens a lot, doesn't it?
I want to talk a little bit about your Triton that you fished the tour out of this year. Some performance, you know, the layout of that boat is very similar to a big boat. Just touch on a few of those details of the Triton you fished out of, and then I've got a follow-up question with that as well.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as, you know, any aluminum boat, but for that matter, I mean, how much stuff do you really need? And it all goes back to your confidence techniques. I mean, you know, certain guys do certain things. They may bring more of this than that, but like I said before, I always bring a little bit of everything just in case I need it. So you really don't sacrifice on storage too much. I mean, most all the boats, they have a lot of storage. They're real comfortable, a nice front deck. You know, you can fish two people up there real comfortably. You know, one good thing about I've seen in the aluminum boats, I was on Erie earlier this year and fishing the FLW Super Tournament, and I was actually passing up fiberglass boats out on Lake Erie. It was so rough that what the theory I think behind it is the boat is so light that when you're hitting waves, it doesn't hit as hard. So I'm able to just pop across them a lot easier, and those guys are having to slow down so slow to be able to take that impact that, you know, in that aluminum boat, I'm able to just boom, 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 and just knock through them without it hitting so hard. So in a theory, you think, man, you got out on Erie with that aluminum boat. Yeah, well, because it doesn't beat you to death. I mean, it kind of it's like a cork out there. I mean, now when you stop and fish, it may blow you around a little bit, but that's what we got spot lock for. So I mean, in people's mind, they think, man, I'm scared to get out there with an aluminum boat. But in theory, it's actually more of a comfortable ride than you realize.
And the thing I guess people don't realize, you ran the 19 TX this year. Is that the model of the Triton you ran?
Yes, sir. 19 TXP.
Right. And it, you had a 150 on it. It ran, 60 miles an hour maybe?
Yeah, a little over 62, 63. I average pretty consistently, depending on how I had it loaded and what boat official I had in the boat with me.
So the thing with, I think when people say 10 boats, aluminum boats, whatever the case is, they don't, they really probably haven't gone and looked at them, because that boat that you fished out of is the exact same as a glass boat layout inside. It doesn't have as much cubic, it doesn't have as many cubic square feet, but it is a tournament boat. It's built, and another prime example would be Vexus. Their aluminum boats are tournament rigs, and they're not like a John boat. And with the foam, like you were talking about, it performs and handles. Your boat was a pad boat as well. A lot of people don't realize that.
Right.
And the price, let's talk about the price. I don't know if you have any of the pricing off the top of your head.
Yeah, it started out, depending on which motor. I actually had the 175, not the 150. And I want to say it started out in the 30s somewhere.
That's
and
less than half of what the big glass boats are going to cost you.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, every boat, it depends on what boat company you're with. They're all going to be priced a little bit differently. So, some of them have better options than others.
Right.
But, just that particular Triton had, that's where the ballpark was on starting out. I mean, just with the motor and hull.
Right. But you can get into it, and $30,000 is a lot of money, but it makes it, like I said, and for me, the biggest thing about having the show was just to talk about how affordable it is.
Yeah.
30 is a lot, but it's not what a glass boat costs.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of questions we got to get to. Mikey, I know you want to talk to me about the boat he fished out of last week, so let's go ahead and get to that.
Right before we get to that, though, right back on Erie, because we were there, I had some really great footage that unfortunately I couldn't get uploaded in time here, but of the takeoff, and there was about 3 or 4 of the big glass boats, and then you came up right behind them. And I mean, it was a great shot. I got you the whole way, and I know exactly what you're saying. I could see that the glass boats were just hitting each wave and cutting through it, and really you can see them bogging down almost. And you were just gliding right across the top of them. You actually looked like you were going faster than most of them. But the biggest thing I noticed in that entire tournament, that was a rough water tournament. Mm-hmm. And every day I went to that service yard at the end of the day, and it was packed. Everybody under the sun had their boat in there fixing something. I didn't see you in there at all, though. I don't think you had to go in there. So to me, there's something to be said for that. You're running that aluminum boat in that big water, and you didn't seem to get beat up near as much as those other boats did.
Yeah, Lake Erie is a son of a gun on boats. I tell you, man, I've been there a few times. I really don't care what boat you have. Lake Erie will jar one, will vibrate one for sure. I mean, it doesn't matter which one it is. I mean, you got to have your stuff tight. You got to be ready when you go to Erie. You got to lock everything down. I took straps. I put over all my batteries. I mean, I really, made sure everything was snug and tight before I got out there, because I know what it does. I've had boats shear off on my jack plate on previous boats, 8 years ago going out there. So I've experienced some of the pain that Lake Erie can bring on you. So, but no, it's just you live and learn, you understand, and when you go back, you kind of prepare for it because you know what's coming.
Right? Yeah, definitely. And I think now, but you haven't always run aluminum boats. You were running glass boats up until last year, or I don't know exactly when you started with aluminum boats. What was your logic behind that? Do you believe? Because that's the big question I want to know. Does it give you an advantage, or do you feel it gives you an advantage to run an aluminum boat?
I've been wanting to run aluminum for a long time. It's just everything works out in timing. I started fishing some opens out of aluminum boat. Actually, this aluminum boat right here. You already seen this thing before I fixed it up. It was my uncle's boat. It was the ugliest, most hideous thing you ever saw in your life. he had it parked underneath pecan tree. I had to shoo the rats out of it before I could fish the tournament, but it was pretty pathetic. But I had a few good events in it and made some money out of it. So I decided to fix it up and put a new Mercury 4-stroke on it. And I mean, I really gutted this thing out and redone the whole thing. But as far as it goes overall, I feel more comfortable going in an aluminum boat because the way I like to fish, the places I like to go, I push that fiberglass a little bit too much sometimes that, I end up having to go to the fiberglass shop, getting the bottom, the scratches taken out or chips fixed. So, I feel like my style of fishing, the aluminum boat works a lot better for me overall, whether it's this little aluminum boat or a big aluminum boat.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely working for you right now. Let's talk about it because everyone wants to know. Lake Seminole, that's a tough lake, but it can be a fantastic lake. I know there was some excellent anglers out there, but you took home the W. You went all the way in that boat right behind you, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. And the this boat has a lot of history. I've been so close to winning out of this boat. Just to be clear, this boat is not for sale. Anybody? I've had a lot of people ask me, you can now offer me $50,000. I still won't take it. This boat is sentimental. I built it myself. I took an old Duracraft hull and gutted it and redone the whole thing. But yeah, I put a Bob's low water pickup on the back of the boat on the transom and connected to the lower unit. Got a Bob's jack plate. I'm able to jack the motor up real high. Which allows me to run a lot of places that a lot of other guys can't. And that's what enabled me to run up the Flint River. Yeah. I fished Seminole back in 2010 on an open in the fall, and I went up the Flint, and it was probably the funnest tournament I ever fished because it was so beautiful and a shoal bass, and I was like, man, I love this. And it's just, it's kind of dangerous, going up those rocks and stuff. So I actually didn't find out about this tournament till last weekend. Like I was talking to someone, it's like, yeah, such and such is down at Seminole practicing for that FLW Toyota city. And I said, what? I got all excited. So, I went down Monday and put in up the river with this boat and went and fished to see if I can get on some fish, see if it was fishing good. And caught some fish, had about 14, 15 pounds of largemouth and about 4 or 5 hours of fishing. I'm like, well, this is pretty good. I think I may enter. So I come back home because I'm only about 2.5 hours from there. Come back home, took the day off, talked to my wife. I'm like, I don't know. I'm, $1,700. She's like, just fish it. That's what you do, whatever. So I entered Tuesday, didn't even fish Tuesday, got up Wednesday morning, went back down, and went put in Bainbridge and made the run up there just to make sure I could make the run without, any kind of surprises. So really only practiced one day and really was just like, hey, the largemouth's biting, the water's moving a lot faster. It's a little dingier. It's up. Let's go. Let's see what happens. And started out with a good bag on the first day. It started working out.
Yeah. Gotta love it when the plan comes together like that. Absolutely, and when it's somewhere that you love to fish in the first place and your style of fishing, that's great. So
everything worked out my way. I never caught a bass in the same place each day. So fishing for current fish, especially a river system like that, it had a lot of trash like lay downs and rocks and cypress trees, cypress knees. There was a lot of things on the bank, and that water being up really pushed those fish, especially those largemouth, real tight to the bank. And I was just going down the bank and flipping the Berkeley Pit Boss. A lot of those current breaks, eddies. A lot of times I had to float backwards because the current was so swift. And my co-angler had the opportunity, the first shot of the fish a lot of times, but yeah, just pitching this bait in the current breaks was definitely the key. The first day had almost 18 pounds and thought I would catch a few shoal bass each day, which I did, but they really didn't play as much. There was another guy up there fishing in the event, Jim Murray, great angler. I think he's from there locally, and I think he stayed more out on the shoals and had a good event. But I think he just missed the big largemouth deal that was going on tight to the bank, because between the pit boss and the humdinger spinnerbait, I was able to put together three solid days to beat the lake fishermen, which was, in a way I was surprised. I mean, I really was surprised that I was able to get the win, because I know it lives down in the lake. I mean, everybody knows.
Right.
But that time of the year with so much grass that those fish can just disappear on you, and you can have a bad day. And I knew going out in that last day, it was overcast, that I was thinking, man, those guys may struggle. If I can just have a decent day, I may just take this thing. So,
Keith, I do have a question for you. The pit boss, get it, great bait, any circumstance. I want to know about the weight, the line, and the hook that you're using, along with talk a little bit about the rod and reel as well. But I'm really more curious about the line, the weight, and the hook.
Yeah, just how you had that set up, because that's something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just an hour and a couple hours south of there, so this is my style of fishing, and I know a lot of people out here really want to know how you found your success, not just the bait, but how you did it. What was your rig?
Guys, I catch a lot of fish on this bait just about everywhere I go in the country, and I keep it real simple. It's a Fusion 19 Berkeley 3/0 hooks, extra wide gap, super line, with a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight, 20-pound 100% trilene fluorocarbon, 7.6 veracity heavy, 7.6 heavy veracity rod. Revo MGX 8-to-1. This setup I can take anywhere, whether it's a green pumpkin, pit boss, black and blue. I can go just about anywhere and catch fish on it. It's just a great combination that works for me, that I have a lot of confidence in. What I like is a 3-inch bait. It's not real big and bulky. It's just real small profile. You can fit it in a lot of little tight places. I will pick up the weight as far as 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce sometimes, pitching on around some thicker cover, but I like to keep it 3/8 ounce, pitching around, scattered wood, like I said, just around docks, scattered grass, anywhere that weight can penetrate through. I'm going to go as light as I can, and it's just a perfect setup. It just catches a lot of fish. I don't know. It's the Berkeley Power Bait. It's got the scent in it, so a lot of times I think that makes a difference, especially on these high pressured lakes. These fish has a lot of pressure. That scent really does play a factor. But this setup's a sweet setup, man. It's something I can keep in my hand all day and pitch around. And I like fishing on a short line. I like making that 10-foot pitch and having one. The fight is on. Who's gonna win in that 10-foot?
Are you pegging your weight, Keith?
I am. Most of the time I am. And just because I like to keep that bait together, I don't like that weight to separate, especially if I want to go through a little scattered grass, or if I'm skipping it, it really skips a lot better to have that weight attached to the bait. So
you're pushing the peg all the way down against the weight, or are you leaving
yes, sir.
a little bit?
Yeah, if you can see
not
right
leaving
there.
it slack in there, right?
Yeah.
You
see it? Yeah.
Yeah, see it for sure. Absolutely. That's a good shot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's definitely versatile little rig. You got a little setup. Like I said, the pit boss itself I think it's probably the first bait I ever started punching or flipping with at all. But it's still probably one of the first ones I ever tie on, because it's really versatile. Like you said, you could just Texas rig it and fish it under docks or anywhere, but it punches really, really well too. Because it's slender. There's not a lot to catch up. You can swim it. There's a lot you can do with that. So I agree. That's 90% of the time I got one of those tied on too.
Yeah, I actually use it as a trailer, jig trailer, and I really love it for a vibrating jig. I mean, it really has a lot of action, and whether it's a black and blue vibrate jig or a green pumpkin, it's a nice fit. It's a great profile. That 3-inch will make a good trailer for that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Mikey, I know Keith's got a camping trip planned tonight, and we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end of the show. But we've got a ton of questions. Would you mind taking a few of them, because these guys have been waiting patiently?
Not at all. Come on with them.
You want me to read them off there, Mikey?
Yeah, go ahead and read. You start reading them, and I'll put them up when you read them.
All right, let me see here. I got to get to the first one. have you ever had any experience with the express aluminum boat, and what are your thoughts on them?
You know, I have not. I can honestly say I have never been in an express aluminum boat. But I will tell you this though, guys, and I know you mentioned the Triton boats, and that's what I did run this past year. And you know, I've been with Triton for several years, but you know, we're going in different directions moving forward. I've made a decision, and I'd like to announce to you guys right now. This will be the first time I've publicly announced this, that I will be signing, and moving forward in 2021, I will be signing with Gator Trax Boats, which is a South Louisiana aluminum boat company. I'll be running a 20-foot strike series. Absolutely a fine aluminum boat. It's built well. It's custom built. Each boat is built to spec. I mean, they hand do everything. They build it like you want it. I mean, it's just an awesome boat, and I've been in them for quite a while now, and I've been talking to them, and I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait.
That's awesome. And I'm glad thank you very much for sharing that with us and everybody. So you guys heard it here first on Bass 365 that Keith Poche is switching to Gator Trax. I am a huge fan of that boat, by the way. I mean, like I said, I run a lot of aluminum boats. I'm always looking for what my next boat might be. And man, those are gorgeous. And they're, like you said, I think you said, they're all custom, right? They make one per individual. So I'm really excited to get on tour this year and see your Gator Trax on how you rig that thing up, because that is going to be nice. What size is that again? 20
It'll be a 20-foot with a 250 Mercury.
Ooh. No slowing you down.
Well, that baby will scream, let me tell you. It's
built right. When are you supposed to pick it up?
Well, it all depends on when my motor comes in. So
maybe we can work it out to it. Maybe we can work it out to broadcast it live when you pick it up.
Hey man, we can. Hey, that'll work.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do it live. We'd love to do a whole boat walk through or whatever. Yeah. I'm sure if you guys want to see that too, make sure you leave a comment on that, because we'll make that happen.
And just to go ahead and do some advertisement here. You know, I don't want to take up y'all's time, but Gator Trax, they have a lot of different boats. They have duck boats, you know, blind boat for duck hunting. They have bay boats. They have a whole fleet of boats. So get on their website, Gator Trax website, and check them out. It's a great company, great people, and they work with you. That's one of the few boat companies that'll listen to the customer and say, hey, how do you want your boat built? What little nicks or knacks do you want on this boat to satisfy you? So
the next question is Tim Gallagher said he runs a Ranger 188P, and it seems to work everywhere in the South, which I agree. We've had this conversation. This guy, Bass Daddy, I don't know who he is, but he just wanted to let you know that the main advantage to using an aluminum boat is you really don't need power poles. You can just pull up on a stump, and you don't have anything to worry about. And then you may actually know this guy is, but he wants to know what your thoughts are. Serious, what your thoughts are about changing diapers?
Man, let me tell you something. I would like. I go the other way. Like I just, that's not my deal.
Uh-oh. What happened? We lost him.
I'm back. I had a call come in.
Oh, all right. There you go. Off.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of changing diapers. I'd rather skin a possum or something than change a diaper.
How about a skunk?
Well, I don't know. That's taking a little far. But we'll stick with a possum.
Well, we've all learned on past live casts that Ricky apparently has the weakest stomach out there on tour. So maybe we might have some kind of a challenge or contest going on here. I have a 2-year-old son that happens to make really nasty diapers all the time. So he's on tour with us too. So maybe we can do that live as well too.
Yeah.
So the next question we got is, I know it's a hydraulic jack plate, and which one do you run?
Running Bob's machine jack plate.
What kind of setback are you running on that 19-footer?
It's got an 8-inch right now. I actually have 2 on there. I added one on there for temporary purpose, but I need to take it off. But,
right.
Yeah, I typically run an 8-inch setback.
So on your Triton, you ran an 8-inch this year.
I think that particular boat was a 6-inch. I think it required a 6. Yeah, that's what they told me. I don't know why, because this little aluminum boat, I got an 8-inch on it, and it runs perfectly. So it may just be their specs or whatever I don't know, but I'll be running a 10-inch on the Gator Trax. I do know that much. Yeah,
that's more a performance boat. I mean, it's a pad boat that will run with any 20-footer out there. I do have a little bit of experience with those big aluminums, but Brandon Daniels wanted to know how does the aluminum boat deal with waves coming from the side?
Wind trolling.
Yeah, as far as running, I've had some people ask me about it, and say, well, this or that, or I'll be honest with you. I mean, you will get a little spray. I mean, I know plenty of fiberglass boats you get spray on.
Right.
Now I haven't experienced that in that Gator Trax, but I know in this boat and other aluminum boats that you sacrifice certain things. I mean, you gain in others, but you sacrifice. Now you just ain't gonna get soaking wet. I mean, you every wave you hit ain't gonna spray you. You will get a little more than a fiberglass, but it's not too terribly bad. No.
Let's face it. The majority of the water is going to hit your co-angler or your official.
Exactly. You just hopefully the wind's blowing from the passenger side. Yeah, and it's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah. You take a different route on the way back.
You put that into your game plan anyway. Like I was going to go fish over there, but the waves, they're going to hit me. So we're going to go hit this bank this time.
Right. There you go.
We got one more really good question. And I don't know how you can really summarize this, but what advice would you give to somebody in the South fishing out of an aluminum boat? Fishing tournaments specifically. Well,
just keep doing what you're doing, man. Be proud of what you have, and focus more on how to catch fish than what you look than what kind of boat you have. Right. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story right quick, and I don't know how much time you guys have, but
we got all night, bro.
It's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. I mean, it's not really, but I bought a 18.5-foot boat. First boat I ever bought. We had a 175 on it. Man, I love that boat. I fished a weekend series back in the day when that was going on, and I was having some success. And a buddy I had met and became friends with, fishing a weekend series. I said, man, I think I'm gonna go fish the Opens. I want to try to make it pro. The first thing he said to me, he said, man, you better not show up with that 18.5-foot boat. You're going to get laughed off the tour. You better go get you a 21-foot boat. And he was serious. And I thought, I was green. I didn't know any better. I said, man, really? He said, yeah, man, you better not show that little boat. But, that was the biggest mistake I ever did, listening to that dude, because it's not about that. That 21-foot boat didn't help me no more than that 18.5-footer would have helped me. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the perception out there this day and time, that you got to have this and all this great stuff. And, that's all fine and dandy. I mean, if you can do it, do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that your average guy, especially myself, honestly, if I had to go buy a boat, I would not buy a big boat. I wouldn't do it. I can't do it. So I think, giving folks confidence and the want to go out, and if as you got a legal boat, I mean, don't be like me and go fish the FLW super tournament. We
weren't going to bring that up at all.
We weren't going to touch that.
But no, honestly, guys, I got disqualified. It's my fault totally. But I got redemption last weekend though on it. You know what I'm saying? I got redemption.
Yeah, you did.
No, but I want to encourage people to go out. Don't care what people say, or if you will get laughed at, or people think that you need something different or whatever. That's what it's not about, because they made fun of me when I showed up with this boat. When this boat was ugly as hell, it was brown, it had old rotten carpet in it, and it had an 88 Evinrude on the back. I'm talking about smoke like a sip. And they made fun of me from the time I blasted off to the time I checked in. But I caught fish, and they didn't make fun of me after a couple of tournaments. But it's not what it's all about. It's about catching them. If you got a boat that runs and gets you to the finish and gets you back and legal, man, get after it. Because you never know where it may take you. You may go win a big tournament, make the Bassmaster Classic, or qualify for MLF, and man, there you go. Your career, your life has changed, and you know, the rest is history.
It's not all about what you look like or what you do out there. It's not. We're not going for prom king or prom queen or whatever you want to call it. Let your fishing, let your skills do the talking or whatever. And that's what
I still try to dress nice and keep my face trimmed, and you know, I want to look presentable. But you can put stickers on the boat, on any kind of boat. I mean, you can represent your sponsors. It ain't got to be the newest and greatest thing ever. I mean, it don't take that. And if you don't like it, rip the carpet out and go to Home Depot and get you a set. Go buy you some carpet, glue it down, and you're good.
The other thing that we didn't touch on was towing. How much easier is it to tow?
Yeah.
Towing, launching, everything like that.
The fuel, the money and fuel. I mean, everything is so much better. I mean, it's a lot easier. It really is a lot easier than having a big boat with all this. I mean, 50 gallons every time you got to fill up. I mean, it's you know.
Yeah.
Which I'll be doing it next year. I mean, that's I want to run a little smaller boat, but that, you know, they wanted me to run the 20-foot with the 250, and I'm gonna do what they want me to do, and who knows what may happen next. I may talk them into giving me a 18 with something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah. Because you got some of them shallow water fisheries coming up this year too. So maybe
I'm fishing the MLF Pro Circuit and the FLW side of it, the Big Five or whatever. So I'm fishing all of it next year.
So you're fishing all 13 tournaments this year.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's great. So you're definitely going to be back up in La Crosse, up on the Mississippi, where we know what happened there. So you got some redemption on your mind. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. And, you know, like I said, it's my fault. I missed the deal. I just never had heard of that before, and that's their rule. I'm not saying that. I disagree with it. That doesn't mean that I'm right or I'm trying to say they're wrong. I just disagree with it, because I think a guy should, no matter what league it is, he should be able to run, you know, whatever he's got, as long as it's Coast Guard approved. So, anyway. That's a different story.
It is what it is, but I know you were doing quite well up there. You had found some fish that nobody else had found. So, and one of the few guys that were putting in some pretty decent bags in practice. So.
I fished 2.5 hours that first day. We had a fog delay. I had to run up. I was going to Pool 7, so I had a long run in this little boat. And I left early because the bars were coming. I got spooked because I didn't want to miss the lock, because I missed the lock a couple months ago on the open that it cost me a win on the Arkansas River. So, man, I tell you, 2020 can't get over fast enough.
No.
I mean, I got the W last week. I mean, there's one good positive, but, man, there's also a lot of bad, too, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me.
Heck yeah. So that's it. Was that it for 2020? Are you done for tournaments for the rest of the season?
No, I got 2 days. I'm heading to the last Central Open in Louisville Lake, north of Dallas.
Okay.
Then I jumped in the Eastern on Lay Lake because it's close to home here. So I have 2 events left, and we'll be getting ready for 2021.
Oh, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see that you're going to be fishing both tours this year or whatever, because that just more that we get to see you, because we're going to be at all those events as well too. So I'm really excited to see that Gator Trax put it into action out there, and I hope to see you do what you do. You did awesome last year, I believe. I remember out in Sturgeon Bay, you were doing really, really well in that aluminum boat in the middle of Lake Michigan as well too. So I'm really, I've said this, and we said this on a lot of past shows out there. A lot of these Southern boys, me being one of them, you put us up north, we got to get out of our element a little, but it doesn't seem to bother you whatsoever. You're pretty versatile no matter what. Give you deep water, give you shallow water, you're running, you're doing well out there. So I'm excited to see what you do this year.
Well, I appreciate it. I get lucky every once in a while, but, I try, and that's all I can do. I do the best I can, and just like every other angler. I mean, it's a competitive league, man, and everybody's wanting to win, and it's a dog-eat world, and, man, you just got to get it while you can get it and hope that you can get on that train and ride it as long as you can.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Now
Mikey, one more thing. when I talked to Keith today, he was making a purchase. And what's next on your agenda for this evening?
Well, I've been putting a tent together. I got that tackled. I got me a little fire pit, and we camping in the backyard tonight. So I actually was roasting a couple hot dogs before I got on with you guys. So we got some s'mores next, and we're gonna tell some stories and have a good time tonight. So I try to mix it up, do a few things before I head out of town with them girls, and we try to have a good time.
That's right. That's right. How many kids do you have now, Keith?
It's 2 girls. We got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old.
10-year-old and 5. So you're not changing diapers anymore. Why is anyone bringing that up anyway? The whole diaper thing. This has got to be a whole story that I don't know about, apparently.
Well, I don't know. Unless he thought I was Cliff. Cliff got 15 babies.
You know,
how many Cliff
that's probably exactly what happened, because I know you guys get compared all the time. I think I remember watching an old Bass University thing where it was Cliff Crochet, and he had to start it up. I said, first of all, I am Cliff Crochet, not Keith Poche. He runs a Triton, I run a Skeeter. Things. So how does that happen a lot to you guys?
It does. There's actually there was one time I went on a deep sea fishing trip with a buddy of mine, and he actually invited another guy, and the whole trip the guy called me Cliff, and I started to it got like he did it so many times I didn't correct him right off first, and I felt bad after he did it for about 3 hours that I just let him do it the rest of the whole fishing trip. So I hope he doesn't feel bad. I hope he doesn't hate me for that. But no, yeah, he thought I was Cliff Crochet the whole time.
Well, I know you now. You're from Louisiana, but you live in Alabama now, correct?
Right.
Now, I've read in passing, I talk to Cliff about this all the time, whatever, because I know he's a big college football fan. Mm-hmm. You are as well, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And now, but being Louisiana born, but Alabama living now, where does your loyalties lie?
Well, I'd rather take the 5th on that one. Just I don't want to keep everything.
I don't even dig it here. I can guarantee I know who it is. If you're taking the 5th on it, we know what team you root for, because I think they're sitting on a goose egg or maybe 1 win or something like that right now. So I'm the number 1 team in the country right now. I'm a big Gator guy being here in Florida, so I love to have the ribbing. I'll extend the same courtesy to you. Because the game that I did with Cliff Crochet, the game that we were supposed to play against the Gators had to get canceled because of this whole COVID crap that's going on out there. It's going to be played again at the end of the year. I made him a bet that if my Gators beat your team, I'm going to send him a Gator hat, and he has to wear it for an entire day on social media. Will you take that bet?
I don't know, man. That'd be pretty.
I wouldn't take it this year either, to be honest.
I may put like a sticker on my truck or something for a day, but man, wear a hat. That's asking a lot.
All right. He actually said no too. He wouldn't do it either.
I could imagine Cliff doing that. Yeah. He'd get run out of Louisiana for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Especially down where he is there for sure too. So, how long have you been out of Louisiana and Alabama now?
Man, a while. Actually, wow, since 2001, I think. It's been a minute. So yeah, I can't believe it. Said time flies, man. We're getting old. We're getting old, bro. Whoa.
Definitely. Well,
before you know it, your girl's gonna be graduating high school. That's gonna hit you.
Don't tell me, man.
Oh, you got fun times coming, brother.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Just call me. I'll tell you exactly what not to do.
Yeah.
Mikey,
we've kept him long enough. Let's wrap this thing up.
Absolutely. Keith, I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun talking with you tonight. We learned a lot from the aluminum guys. Guys, we're going to cut Keith loose here in just a minute so he can get back to his camping out there. So if you have any last-minute questions, make sure you get it to us right now. But while we're waiting for that, Keith, we appreciate it really very much. We know what you're doing next year, fishing 13 events. Is there anything else new coming? We thank you for dropping the bomb about the Gator Trax boats, of course. But anything new and exciting in your world coming next season?
Man, not really. I mean, everything's going to stay the same pretty much. I just want to ask everybody to check out my off the grid videos on YouTube. Now I hadn't posted one in a few weeks, a month, or whatever, but I got some more coming. But which I take this boat and do some crazy stuff in it. But yeah, check me out on social media. If you don't mind, please give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, keep up what's going on with me as I run these aluminum boats and catch bass. So that's all, man. I'm ready to get to
That's great.
2021
What are your
going.
handles? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Where do they find you? How do they find Keith Poche? Just Keith Poche, or
just Keith Poche? Just look me up. You can find
make
me.
it as easy as possible. That's perfect.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So there we go. Well, we're going to let you get back to your camp, and we appreciate it so very much. Thank you for telling us all about the aluminum boats and spending some time with us. Get out there. Make sure you have some s'mores. You know what you do with your s'mores, though? You got any Reese's peanut butter cups instead of chocolate?
I don't.
You got to try this.
Is that good?
This is I'm addicted. So next time, get some Reese's peanut butter cups instead of chocolate. That's how you get the shape that I'm in.
I got you.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Guys. Thank y'all
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Peace.
All right. Thank you, Keith.
All right.
Well, there we go.
There you go, Mikey. That was a good one. I knew it was going to be a good one.
Just putting it out there once we were telling people that was happening, the amount of attention it was getting and the amount of questions I was getting on my own social medias and stuff about this, I knew this was going to be a great show. And I had a bunch of questions myself. So he did a great job. I can't believe he dropped that about Gator Trax right here on Bass 365 podcast.
Big deal. Really big deal. Like I said, good guy, known him a long time. We've got a little bit of connection through Triton. Excited to follow him along this year in this new boat and can't wait to ride in it. Maybe he'll even let me drive it. I mean, that would be fun.
I don't know about letting you drive it, but I'm more than willing to be ballast if he'll let me do that. I'll sit there. I'll sit there. Those are beautiful boats. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him this season. It's going to be a great show. But Ricky, you're not coming to us from the original.
No, it's a new studio tonight. This is Studio B tonight. We've been working on it a little bit. Got much better internet here, and we'll be kind of flip-flopping back and forth where we're doing from. We do have one other question, and I think I know the answer to it.
Sure.
Salisbury Fishing wanted to know if he could just pick one bait for the rest of his life. I would bet that it's a Pit Boss. That seems to be a very popular choice for a lot of the guys nowadays. And, like you were saying earlier, it's such a versatile bait. You can use it for anything.
Yeah.
But again, hey, Mikey, thanks for, being a part of this. Great show tonight. And Thursday night, we've got a special guest from Iowa that's going to be on.
This is going to be big.
Yeah, not a fisherman, somebody that a friend of mine for 20 years. But it's going to be a good show, so don't miss that one. It's going to be a great one.
Yeah, I'm excited with that. As we know, you watch shows. I've gotten my hands on some of this newer Tatula Elite gear. I'm loving it. I just caught some good fish with it. It's just fantastic. So the guy that's going to be on here on Thursday from Iowa has got the inside scoop on a lot of this stuff. So I'm real excited to learn a little bit and pick his brain on what's going on with all this Iowa gear. And man, they've been setting the Iowa team has been setting some pretty darn impressive records out.
Right. High bar now. It's a high bar with what they've got going on for sure.
Yeah.
Hang on, I got somebody coming in. We got a guest appearance. Oh my gracious. Zachary, guys, meet Zachary. Zachary is my 15-year-old, my baby, the youngest of the group. He hates to fish. I mean, it's so bad. I wish I heard that. I wish I heard somebody just to teach him to fish a little bit. But
remember the last time we fished together?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you guys win a tournament together?
We fished a 2-day tournament on the James River a couple weeks ago, and I'm proud to say that I did catch 3 of the fish that we weighed in our 10 fish limit. So we had a good day.
Wait, 3 of the 10 fish limit?
It was a 2-day.
Yeah, 2-day tournament.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But
and you
2 days, I caught 3 of the 10 that we weighed in. So
3 of the 10.
I was pretty proud of myself.
There you go.
Anyways,
we're proud of you too. Good to see.
We'll have him on as a guest one night after he wins the classic or something.
There we go. So that was a great show. I hope everybody enjoyed that one. Definitely make sure you follow us on all of our channels here. Bass365 on Instagram, bass365.com on Facebook, and on the web, and of course here on YouTube. We're working on the app, and the store is open, guys. So make sure you get out there and check out all the fantastic stuff. A lot of stuff that Keith was just talking about on that store too. So you want to get it yourself, rig out, trick out your aluminum boat or your small boat. We got a lot of it. We got you back at Bass365 stores as well.
So, Mikey, I have one other quick thing. I don't know how many people. I should have probably mentioned this earlier. I don't know how many people we have watching now, but
Still.
The app. Go download the app today. It's in the Google Play Store and in the Apple Store, the iTunes Store. We have our own social media platform on there. If you're sick of all this crap on Facebook and just want to get away from it, we're starting to build our own community where it's going to be fishing only. If somebody wants to come on there and get stupid, we'll just, we'll kick them out. And we can build our own little family there that we can talk fishing. I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully that thing will be finished this week. The developers are developers. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
They're doing stuff that we don't quite understand. It's a fantastic opportunity, a fantastic platform. We have probably the only live app that's out there. So it's a full-featured app. When we're talking fishing 24/7, you're going to get notifications. It's Bass365 Live. It can work on your iPhones. It can work on your your Samsungs, whatever they were called. I'm an Apple guy, but a completely full-featured app. And there is a area on there of social where you can post your own stuff and share it with the rest of the Bass365 world. So make sure you check it out. Bass365 store is there with the fully loaded gear of everything that you need out there. The app, the web, the YouTube, everywhere. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on out there. You want to get an escape? Make sure you escape into the world of Bass 5. Got you covered all the way around.
All right, Mikey, thank you. Shut it on down, man. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
All right. Well, guys, that's it. What a great show again. What a fantastic guest, Keith Poche. I learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope we get to see you guys again soon. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all on the water.